We are live 364 days a year. What are we doing here?
If Dom turns at SummerSlam, I'm shaving my moustache off. I told you, if that happens, it's going. My lip is cold because of a stupid bet that I made with YouTube.
Oh, good.
Wrestle's better than Daniel Bryan. Bryan Daniels. Better than Okada.
How do you not get 60 after Monday Night Raw?
What is going on, everybody? We are back once again with another edition of Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast. It is Saturday, October 25th. I'm fired up to be here. I've got a sweet crew with me. We're going to break down last night's SmackDown. We've got some really good wrestling coming up later tonight. NXT, all kinds of good things going on. It's been a fun and interesting week in professional wrestling, and we're here to break all of it down. But let me introduce my co-hosts to you. First and foremost, let me send this one across the country to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And if you didn't know before, you will when you see his Eagles hat. How are you on this fine Saturday, Anthony?
I mean, I was debating which hat to wear. You know, I have tons of them. No, but it's always fun doing these, covering a SmackDown that was not super eventful. Some of it the IWC is furious about. And that's always fun to do because we'll either piss the IWC off or they'll agree with us, one or the other. So it should be fun.
100%. I think the internet whining community has made their decision about me, at least. So we'll see how that goes in the future. Definitely, Anthony, and I'm with you. But before we get started, I've also got to introduce one more. I'm going to send this to the great state of Texas. No doubt about it. Happy Saturday. How are you, Ignacio?
I'm feeling great. A state so great, it should be its own country. At least that's what a few think. It was definitely an interesting episode of SmackDown. Had its high points, had its low points. Chester is taking his nap right now, so hopefully no run-ins today. So let's get to it.
Absolutely. Monster shout out, Chester. No doubt about it. Cat's got a nap every now and again. I guess that's why they call it a cat nap. Dad joke out of the gates. 1 for 1 for Clark there, guys. We got to hit you in the comments already with what up, fam. DCX Warlord with Jade Cargill is back as that B word, like how she was in AEW. And then Haley and Blake. Oh, don't do that. Not today. We're not discussing things like that. That's not funny. It's not nice. And that's Blake and not Haley, because Haley would never do that to me. I know that. We're not talking about that right now. We're not even. It's not in the topics. Check the graphic, Blake. Jeez. And give Haley my best because I'm actually friends with her. Just kidding. I'm friends with Blake too. But let's talk about Jade Cargill and turning on Tiffany Stratton last night. As our good friend DCX Warlord mentioned, that B word is back. I have been begging for this since Jade Cargill debuted in WWE. That is where she's at her finest. I thought this was pretty brutal. I liked it. I might have arguably been the highlight of the show for me, and I'm not going to lie to you. There was not a lot to unpack here. Can you let me know what the suitcase looked like for you, and if there's more to unpack on this one than I have, because I love Jade being back. Jade and Tiffany, I think, was just pretty much the most important moment that happened last night.
This absolutely was the highlight of the night. I've said it multiple times before, and I know people getting mad about it. I don't see Tiffany. I don't see the superstar that they see as a babyface with her. She is a natural heel. It's been forced the entire time. I've said this before, and I will say it again. I don't see it. I see star power in Jade. She has that look. And her as the heel, as, you know what? It works. And the look was added to it because she's got the little scar over the eye. Like, that adds like a grittiness to it. She had the look like she could take out multiple people. She's looked significantly better than she did in AEW. Why? Because she has reps in WWE. She's worked a lot longer. She's doing house shows. She's doing things that didn't exist in AEW for her. They didn't have house shows. She would do squash matches for the TBS title. Now she's got to work. And she wanted to do that. She wanted to do the grind, and you could see it paying off. So I am 100% behind her taking Tiffany out, because I'm done with the Tiff experience as a babyface. She's a natural heel. Take the belt off of her. take her off TV for a while, maybe throw her on Raw during a draft or something. But like the journey's over with this babyface Tiffy thing. Like it doesn't work.
I could not agree more. I think it's time to pull the plug on that too. But it's weird you can't do it at the same time when you have Jade involved in this thing.
No, but it's one of those things like she can't be a heel, but she could be a heel on Raw. Like if you move her over, she could be the heel on Raw. You don't have her turn heel now because Jade already did it. But I see more in Jade. Like Tiff's got to go off TV and then she comes back maybe at the Rumble, maybe sooner. And she's a heel. Like you got to make her a heel. Like the loss made her snap, and then she goes back to her Barbie Mean Girls routine. Because same thing with like AEW with MJF when they forced the face turn. And people were, well, they're cheering him. He could be the heel that they love to hate. The same thing with Tiffany. Doesn't mean she can't sell merchandise. The NWO were technically heels, and they were selling more merchandise than anybody. So it doesn't mean anything anymore. Like back in the day, it did. Now it doesn't. I don't think it would dramatically impact her merch sales if you want to make that argument.
The Bloodline sold merch.
Yes.
And they were heels. And they sold a ton of merch.
Listen, how many people bought the honorary Ooh shirt from Sammy? Which, you bought multiple of them, including one for me, which I never got. Not that I'm holding any grudges, but you bought.
Hey, we got the We the One shirts too.
We do have those.
Yeah, man. We were stacking those at one time. I love this comment here from DCX Warlord. He said they gave Jade the Lion King special.
Yes. Somebody actually did post that picture of Jade and Scar. And it really does work. It works.
It's funny because Fernando, I normally agree. Fernando, great friend of the show. They should have done a double turn.
It wouldn't have worked. It would have been they both went heel.
Then they have to be rivals. And here is my only issue I had with last night, because the step spot was gnarly. Everything about it was great. I am superstitious enough. It bugged me when she touched the title.
I knew you were going to say that.
Why? Why do people always do that? Do not touch the belt.
Because it makes a great visual.
That's does. Why. But you can do the same with the cold-blooded stare of a Jade Cargill at that title and not touch it. That's just my personal preference. I've just always
that's a superstitious thing.
Way. Yeah, I'm totally superstitious when it comes to this. But I also, before we move on, Ignacio, I need to get your thoughts on this as well. You know, we've talked a lot about both Jade and Tiffany on this. I thought this was the best segment of the two on screen at once yet. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, well, first let me get away. I know we weren't really going to talk about this, but I think the match was very good between Tiffany and what's her face? I'm sorry, my mind went blank for a minute. I thought the match was very good.
Tiffany and Kiana James.
Yes, Kiana James. I'm sorry, my mind went elsewhere. But yes, I thought the match was very good. I thought both performed very good. I thought it was one of Tiffany's better performances. And then let's go back to on topic here. But yes, I think a double turn wouldn't have worked, but I think these women are just they're in the wrong roles, kind of like going off of what you all said. And I think Jade Cargill, one thing that AEW got right with Jade Cargill is her presentation. I think she needs to be a heel, and I think she needs a little bit of an entourage, somebody she can feed off of. Maybe not necessarily a manager, but maybe somebody, another wrestler that they can pair her with that can be like a voice of the group, and along with another wrestler, kind of like what Chelsea Green has. She needs a little bit of an entourage. I believe it'll look better. It'll look presentation wise. It'll make her look powerful. And I think that's one thing that they got right with Jade Cargill was her presentation. I think that's the way she needs to be. She needs to be presented, and she's definitely going to be a superstar if they keep her as a heel. Tiffany, on the other hand, she has the same potential, but like I said, these two women have been miscast, and that's why they're in the positions they are now. That I don't believe that Tiffany Stratton has been as good or great character-wise that everybody's making her out to be. But she's definitely going to be a better heel on another show, just like Anthony said, on another show. She's wasted on SmackDown. She needs to go to Raw.
I'm in total agreement. I think both need to be heels, and I agree with. I love the way you said miscast, because that's what it feels like. Both, it's almost like if you were to really, really like microscopically look at it, it's almost like Tiffany Stratton has been good for playing the wrong role. Right? It'd be like if on your favorite TV show they switched actors or actresses.
The Darren from Bewitched is where you're going with this?
Yeah, like I was thinking like if Chandler had to play Joey on Friends, like if Jim had to play Dwight for a week, it would be weird. Right? Like it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
You know,
Listen, here's the difference though, I think. Jade, though, I don't think it was egregious as her as a face. I think she could get over as both. I think Tiffany is really just a heel. Like, you know what I mean? Like Jade could get over as a face. Like she was getting the cheers, she was getting all that.
Almost.
I don't think if it was forced, but I do if she leaned more one way or the other, the heel is probably more a natural fit. It's always easier to play a heel, honestly.
In a more expanded way, sort of the way Bianca played a heel on NXT and then became an uber face.
Yeah.
I could see that for Jade, but Jade at some point where she plays a heel she is a heel so well for so long that she sort of weirdly becomes an uber face because she also has the great backstory. That's the other thing about Jade. It's not that Tiffany doesn't have a great backstory, but Tiffany's backstory is she was the best at everything she did. She was amazing at gymnastics. She killed it. She was the mean girl. She was the popular girl. She was the good looking girl, right? All of that. That's her backstory. Jade, you know, the being a mother and hardworking and the all of that goes into it. It's easier to take realism, and that's no knock on Tiffany Stratton. I'm not saying that like, oh, she's like, you know what I mean, entitled or anything like that. It's just easier given like if you look at Wikipedia early lives, it's easier to take Tiffany Stratton and apply her real life to being a heel than it is Jade.
Well, when you look at it, like you said, Jade is like a working person, like, and people relate to it. There's a reason why Dusty Rhodes is beloved as the common man and why Mr. Perfect was a natural heel because people don't like people that are quote unquote perfect. Like they people get jealous, envious, whatever.
Yes.
I'll give one more thing on this real quick because I know we need to move on, but it goes into what you guys were talking earlier. And this is something, Clark, I have to ask you something when we get off camera because it's a topic as far as like baby faces and heels. I think it's just easier to be a heel nowadays. It's hard to be a baby face. And it's hard to be a baby face because I think the fans of today, they don't know what a baby face is. They're so confused on what a good baby face should be. And that's a topic I'd like to bring up in the future. We can talk about that later on.
I actually would agree. I think it's really interesting on the babyface front. It is so much more difficult to be a babyface right now than it is to be a heel. And I also think, to your point, the waters have been muddied in a way.
The IWC is well.
Cool thing, like the cool factor is a little different now. I mean, to me, MJF wasn't a babyface, but getting cheered, it didn't make him a bad heel. It's honestly, he was so clever that you felt like you were, at first, organically, it felt like you were almost doing something wrong with him. Does that make sense? That feeling of like, I'm getting away with something. Like I like this so much and I shouldn't.
I feel like it's a situation where, like, I look at it like MJF, for a perfect example, is this. I almost look at it like an actor that's really good at playing a bad role, and you love to watch them perform. You respect their art of the craft, and that's kind of how I view it. But like you said, it's harder with a babyface scenario now because the IWC is so prevalent. The well's kind of poisoned, where people know the inside stuff, and they're like, oh, the company's getting behind this person. Oh, well, we must boo them now. We have to anoint the chosen one, not them. You know what I mean? That's kind of where 100%. I feel with that.
And honestly, the three of us could talk about this probably the rest of the show. I'm going to read one more comment there from Cascade because I just find it fascinating. He said, they want more of a teenage face. I kind of agree with that. And I feel like they're trying to book to more of a teenage audience. Like it's not quite 18 to 35, but it's not quite little kid baby face. Right? They're trying to strike some sort of middle school balance.
Yeah.
Clearly. And that I think is actually a very good point. Yeah. I think we can all kind of agree on that in some ways. Now this one's going to be funky. Let's talk about this because I was really critical of Karrion Kross's exit and the way it went. I do believe that was one of the best entrances in all of wrestling. at one point, and I believe Scarlett is awesome. And the documentary thing happened, all of that. I was very critical of the way that Kross handled that situation in certain spots. But this was, if it, I cannot be the only one that reacted to this entrance like, wait a minute. They just said we can do the same thing with Vega and Black, and it's gonna be better or just as good. The entrance is so similar from start to finish and everything. The music's different. I get that. The light's not much different. It's spooky. It's awesome. I loved it because I'm a huge fan of Zelina Vega and Aleister Black. But this felt like shots fired for things that were said outside of the company by Karrion Kross and Scarlett over the last few months. And that was what my initial instinct told me. And it kind of weirds me out that was where my brain went right away, because I'm not trying to be hypercritical of Aleister Black or Zelina Vega. But man, was it similar. Man, was it similar. And help me out with this one, my friend.
Listen, I don't know if whether or not that was intentional or not. I've said before, at least privately, because I don't know if I was ever on a show to discuss it. I like Karrion Kross. I like Scarlett. But realistically, I don't buy the IWC's fake outrage with them. I really don't. Because if they were truly as over as, the IWC likes to claim it, they would have sold merch, they would have caused a demand, and WWE would not have let them walk. And AEW would have picked them up too at this point. I don't believe the demand is truly there. As far as the entrance goes, it's not like it's the first husband and wife to have a dark gimmick entrance, or a couple, or a valet, whatever you want to call it. You can go back, Kevin Thorne and Ariel, the vampire gimmick. They had that. Gangrel and Luna, real life couple. Oh, how about Aleister with Julia Hart in the House of Black in AEW? They've all done this before. It's not like anybody has exclusive rights to a dark character with a female valet. It's not original. So whether or not it was a shot, maybe. But at the end of the day, do I care? Not really. Like, at the end of the day, it's not going to matter. Like, is this really going to be a story 2 weeks from now, a month from now? No.
DCX Warlord in the comments is saying they were the top seller in WWE shop, but it felt like flash in the pan because it went away really quick.
But what were they the top seller because there was word that their deals were going to run out, and all of a sudden the IWC wants to get behind somebody? They all got behind Truth, and I love Truth. But it was all, we bring Truth back. They brought him back, and then nobody cared. Like, I feel like it's one of those things where the IWC gets mad about something. Oh, they're not using Austin Theory. They're not using him. They're not using this one. And they don't. And then when they do end up using these people, they don't care. There's a reason why they released the Cena t-shirt that says, if Cena wins, we'll complain online, or whatever. That iconic thing, because it's the truth. I mean, that is something that, honestly, if we were making t-shirts, Clark, that would be your shirt. It would be you or Ignacio would have that shirt. Let's be real.
The irony of the situation to me is, and it cracks me up, is like, it's about the timing. It's almost like they didn't. I don't see a scenario where they were like, what we ought to do is make it look a lot like Kross and Scarlett. Nobody said that, right? But then as soon as it happened, if you didn't at least click in your mind, given the recency bias, the classic recency, if you didn't at least click in your mind, like, wait a minute, this is starting to look familiar.
Here's the thing.
It was just so close. It makes me laugh more than anything.
Here's the thing.
To your point, do I care? Not really.
At the end of the day, if Aleister didn't have a dark gimmick, didn't have a dark entrance to begin with, prior to Kross, and if he wasn't married to Zelina in real life, I'd be like, okay, maybe they're doing this purposely to spite them. But like, it's not like they turned him from Mr. Sunshine to Mr. Dark to purposely do that. Like, it doesn't. Whatever. Like, it's. Will this be a story in a week? Probably not. Now, listen. If Zelina pulls out an hourglass, you have 100% my attention that they're doing that on purpose. But as long as they don't pull on an hourglass, I think you're fine.
1,000%. Well, and Donnie in the comments here, good friend of the show. And by the way, big ups on the Blue Jays. Let's go last night. Great win. But would it not look familiar no matter what? Basically, I think that's actually my point, Donnie.
That's my point.
Is it looks familiar? No, it's coincidental. But just because it's coincidental doesn't mean it's lost upon.
Oh yeah.
People like us that are what, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like it's not. Like I'm not saying anything was on. My point is I don't believe anything was intentional. It wasn't like let's go copy the Scarlett Kross thing, and apply it to Zelina and Aleister Black and just see what people say. I don't think that's how it happened. My point is it just the timing is remarkable the way that it turned out. But I've got one more thing that I do really quickly want to talk about before we move along, and that's the schedule for the rest of the week. We got all kinds of good stuff going on. Tomorrow, you're going to see me and Ben and Dez, and we're going to redraft the WWE roster from 2007. But we're also going to do it 3 different brands with 4 picks from outside of the company, so it could be fun. There's a lot of names on the table. That's going to be a blast. Of course, go ahead and check out Off the Air tonight. If you haven't already checked out the weekly podcast, that's coming out on Monday again, but the last one was pretty solid. It was great. In fact, I thought Allison analysis, you got the daily top 5 takes of the week on the way, all kinds of good stuff on tap here at WR. There's no doubt about it. Let's keep it rolling today, and do not miss Off the Air tonight immediately following Halloween Havoc. Let's talk, though, about something real funky here, because if you don't know who wrote the topics, you do now. Thanks a lot, Ben. Either way, I love it. Kit Wilson, one half of the tag team Pretty Deadly. We've obviously got an injured half of Pretty Deadly, unfortunately. So Kit's out here doing this toxic masculinity gimmick. And I'm not going to lie, it's kind of cracking me up. He's starting to get to the point where it's so over the top and so ridiculous, and he's so committed to it. I enjoy it. Carmelo Hayes needs to show exactly who Carmelo Hayes is. And here's the thing. I do think Kit Wilson's actually an underrated bell-to-bell wrestler. He can sell for Melo. I would actually love to see a long match, offensive one way from Melo's end, where the crowd is fully behind the babyface. A different psychological approach to a match between the two. You are putting Melo over as that face along the way back to sort of a U.S. title type thing, maybe some Miz comeuppance down the road, something like that. But this is one of the few matches I think you could possibly book on the roster where Carmelo Hayes can get in the majority of the offense and still be the good guy. Given Kit's gimmick, I don't think it's the strongest gimmick of all time. And at first I thought it was goofier than a football bat. Ignacio, you're about as old school as I, if not arguably more. So I got to get your thoughts on this one, man.
Kit who?
Wilson.
Well, I think this guy's getting more attention and on line and platforms than he deserves, honestly. If you want to elevate Carmelo Hayes with the talent he has, you don't do it putting him with Kit Wilson. I mean, I'm sorry. He's just, they were an entertaining tag team at the time, but I think that ran its course, injury to the other party or not. I feel for Carmelo Hayes because I think he should be in a better position by now than what he is. Right now, it seems like he's in a recovery phase, like trying to recover from the bad booking. I don't want to say incompetent booking, but it's just a lot of med steps. What they thought would work for him hasn't worked. And even though I love The Miz, and he's a great performer, great talker, he's an asset to the company, I don't think pairing him with Carmelo Hayes was the best idea. And I'm surprised they should have realized it sooner. I don't think this is the best way to present him or the best feud he should be in. I don't think that Kit Wilson, maybe somebody sees some talent in him, but I don't. I don't think he's ready. He's really a big deal. And it's, if you want to elevate Carmelo Hayes to, the mid card or upper mid card, this isn't the way to do it. He's got a great character. People see great character in him. So pair him up against, the upper mid card guys, some of the heavy hitters, keep on doing that. But at the same time, help build his character, give him some wins because wins and losses do matter. Give him some wins against important people and make him a contender. If I recall, and I hope the plan is for them to eventually build to this, is if I recall, he had some good matches with Lilian Dragunov. So I hope we can get there, but yeah, this the Kit Wilson gimmick, if it's been going on for a couple of weeks or whatever, few weeks, I've missed it, or it's been on the TV in the background when I'm eating my pizza or playing with Chester or whatever. I'm sorry. I don't care. And I don't think anybody really does either. I think it's just like some of these things they kind of catch on, and the IWC like, oh, I want to be cool because they're talking about this guy and giving him a chance. So I'm gonna keyboard warrior and talk about him too, so I can get my clicks and attentions and likes. And if we keep on, how would I say this? If we keep on enabling these people and these storylines and these characters, we're gonna keep on seeing on TV, and it's gonna be a waste of time.
This is the one thing I will say in defense of Kit Wilson is if you go back and watch like deep tape where you watch an NXT UK and his character work and his in-ring work, the guy is undeniably talented. And we talked earlier about people being miscast. He's been cast in everything. And Donnie said it here. Kit is talented and he works every gimmick he gets hard. That is something that I believe should be commended by us, especially as big fans. He's not in the best position, to your point. And so it makes it more difficult to care, for sure. But I do believe he can put on a heck of a match opposite Carmelo. Now, you brought up something real interesting, Ignacio, that I want to discuss. Carmelo's arguably best opponent in NXT, in my eyes, Carmelo Hayes, was Ilya Dragunov.
Yep.
And if this is direct route back to that, okay, now we're talking. Donnie here with the, wins and losses are irrelevant if people don't care about you. And then Melo is fine. He's been on TV every single week. It would have been unrealistic for him to show up and beat everyone. Those things are for later, I think. I think they're for later. I definitely think that they're for later, right? We leave those be for now. But if this is a springboard, which we thought the pairing with Miz could be at first, right? Because you made great points about that tag team pairing as well. Both of you did, where it was like, it felt like, oh, wait, now this is going to be Melo's springboard. It felt like it springboarded the Miz more than it did Melo. It brought him back into conversation, right? And that's no knock on the Miz. I believe the Miz is outstanding. I think the one saving grace when it comes to this is the potential for a Melo Dragunov showdown or two. I'm almost cool with it being like he gets close. Now, what's interesting about that, though, is Melo being presented as a face. Dragunov is being presented as a what? I don't know. Tweener? Face? What is he? I'm not sure. I had a friend of mine ask, is he the first Russian babyface in the history of wrestling? And I was like, arguably, maybe. Outside of like an Eastern European promotion. I was like, I never thought of that. Like, he's up there.
Nikolai was a babyface
for a time, like a small time. But Nikolai Volkov, as we know, is from Chicago.
Yeah,
and that was more of an NWA type deal anyway, not WWE.
Yeah, exactly. Too funny. Yeah, Donnie's right. Ilya is a face. I would say so too. I think that's the only issue with the Ilya Melo matchup out of the gates. Other than that, I'm all over that. If this is the route to get there, I'm cool with the Kit Wilson match. Because I also, Kit Wilson, the way he's like sold injuries and done all of those things, and he bumps when he's in the ring. That's one thing you can't take away from that guy. He bumps as well as, I don't want to go full Nick Nemeth, Dolph Ziggler, but he's in that kind of a conversation when it comes to like selling and bumping and that part of the equation. Kit can make somebody look real good real fast, and that's the one positive I've sort of taken away with this, because I'm in agreement with a lot of what you guys both said.
I didn't say anything yet
in regards to Kit. Well, what Ignacio said, but in regards to like what happened with last night's SmackDown, I was going to ask you about it as well, Ant. Jeez Louise, way to jump the gun there. Now it's your turn. I
think you're talking about pre-show.
Say your piece. Say your piece.
Okay. I think the interesting part with Pretty Deadly is I think they're a solid team. However, I don't necessarily think there's a breakout star in either one of them. I feel like it's two Genettis. Like with, Street Profits, it's Montez. Like there, usually you can figure out, okay, this one's the breakout guy. Wilson has a unique opportunity now because his tag partner is down. He has an opportunity to stand out. I think both guys are very solid hands, but like I said, I don't necessarily see the breakout. And that's what I'm curious about, to see if Wilson takes this and is able to break out of this, or what happens with him. I don't know if this gimmick's truly going to get over, or this is an IWC. Oh, we got to get behind it because they're doing something.
We like it because he's trying hard. That's
I mean,
you
know what I mean? Like, I have nothing but respect for anybody that does this for a living. I do. So as much as I'll be critical with stuff, I'm being honest. I don't see breakout. I don't see somebody putting out money to go seeing this guy exclusively.
True.
What you said about Dragunov, I feel in the same way. He's like Gunther, in that if you have a bad match with him, then you just need to leave the industry.
Yeah,
like
you're not very good.
It's kind of like Sean Waltman used to be the measuring stick. They would always put new guys against Sean because they knew Sean could make anybody look good.
Right.
Dragunov, he's just special. He really is a special talent.
No doubt. We've got Donnie in the comments here with you. He thinks that Kick can definitely be an upper mid-card guy. I see the potential, especially because I really watched the NXT UK era during the pandemic. And if you hadn't seen his work there, where they were featured higher on the card, I think it's harder to wrap your head around that, given what they've had on the main roster as pretty deadly. At least in my eyes, I think that is the only place where you can point to and go, wait a minute, no, they have a little bit more than we realize. Now let's talk about something here, because I have a few things to get off my chest on this. So Drew McIntyre and Jimmy Uso have a street fight. And number one, I don't mind a little bit of a chair shot to the head. This one was good. Some people were upset about it. It was thrown. It wasn't wicked. It wasn't crazy. And it worked. And then a Claymore for the victory by Drew McIntyre. But I want to know who in the WWE decided that Jimmy's the not as good Uso. Why do they do this to Jimmy? Why did they decide that Jay is the Uso that is the good one and Jimmy's not? Why does Jimmy keep getting, every time Jimmy gets an opportunity in a spot like this, he's on the wrong end? And somehow Jay Uso's out here choking out Gunther at WrestleMania. I don't get it. Who decided and why? Because I believe that Jimmy's just as talented. He's arguably better on the mic than Jay. He doesn't say yeet. That's it. That's the only difference. I think Jimmy's better. I think Jimmy is better and more charismatic than Jey Uso. Every time Jimmy talks and jokes, I think he's funnier. I think he's more clever. And that's not a knock on Jay. I like both Usos. But how did we get to this point? I don't understand it, because this could have easily been Jimmy's big springboard into that main event or scene on the way. And it just wasn't. He ended up just getting beat by Drew McIntyre in a street fight. I don't know. Ignacio, what do you think?
Man, you segued into a topic exactly what I was going to focus on or emphasize on. It was that, man, I think Jimmy Uso, he works really hard, like really, really hard. And I really think he's getting overlooked, because now does he have more charisma than Jey Uso? I think it could be equal. He might be a better promo, which I don't know is could be really saying much, but I think I think the good way to put it, he's more comfortable in front of the microphone and in front of the camera than Jey Uso is, I think, in my opinion. But in ring wise, I think, he performed very well yesterday. He performs in the ring consistently, especially when he's put up against bigger talent. So, and I think we've used the term the Jannetty. He's the Jannetty. The thing about Marty Jannetty is that Marty Jannetty got in his own way. Like I'm not saying that Marty Jannetty could have been as big as Shawn Michaels, but definitely if he didn't have his personal issues, which have been, he's talked about him. Everybody's talked about him. They're no secret. I think he could have been bigger than what he was. So in Jimmy's scenario, he doesn't have those issues that we know of. He works hard. He's always on TV. We've never heard of anything. I know he's had some issues, maybe a time or two with the law or stuff, but those things, in my opinion, have been rectified, and he performs very well. So why he's not getting some of the same opportunities that Jey Uso gets is beyond me. I think at least he should have had a U.S. title run by now, and I hope that's coming for him in the future. I hope he gets a chance to be highlighted in the main event against the top tier talent. You know what I mean? I really want that for him because I think he's a great performer. I think he performed great yesterday. McIntyre goes without speaking, right? Drew McIntyre is a great performer. He's main event all day long. You can interject him in the main event at any time. But I think what needs to be focused on, I think Jimmy needs to be presented better. I think he deserves a better opportunity, and I really wish that for him.
I couldn't agree more. And I always point back to, you look at the one triple threat ladder match for the tag titles at Mania ever. Jay was the one that couldn't perform in that one. And that was before Jimmy got hurt, but Jimmy put on a heck of a match out there in that one. I think it's unbelievable. Donnie makes a really interesting point here. He says, Jimmy doesn't evoke sympathy the way Jay does. That's a differentiator. That kind of makes sense. Jimmy almost seems too cool at times, whereas Jay has that little bit of underdog factor in him.
Well, because then, all right. So if you make Jimmy like Jay, if you present him the same way, like he's explaining, then it's the same person on two separate shows,
right?
Then you got two Jey Usos or two Jimmy Usos, so they have to present him differently.
And this is the other part that frustrates me with the Jimmy and Jay situation here too. Before we get back to the actual topic,
yeah.
I cannot stand that Jey Uso has one more tag title reign than Jimmy does. I can't stand that. It bothers me so much. That is infuriating to me. That one is it's not the world title. It's not the other titles that Jay has won that Jimmy has not. It's the fact that he has one more tag reign. And that's on one Cody Rhodes, who we saw make the run in yesterday as well. Of course, we've got an expert on Cody here. A man that saw him not only start the story, but finish it live and in person. Anthony, I got to ask you about his involvement, Jimmy Uso, the way this has all worked, the Jay factor, all of it. What do you think?
I want to answer your question, Clark. You asked the question of why the fans have deemed Jay as the superior Uso, if you will. And I think it all goes back to when Jimmy was injured, Jay had that feud with Roman. That's what elevated Jay, because no one expected anything out of that feud. And that feud is what caused the connection that Jay has with the audience that Jimmy doesn't. Now, of course, the IWC is doing what they always do. You build somebody up and now they're trying to bring him down. Oh, how dare he get a title shot again? He sells merch and he's over. That tends to do it. Call me crazy, but money talks. I think that's the reason. Jimmy hasn't had that feud. He hasn't had that chance to kind of connect with the audience that Jay did. And that's why. The Cody Drew thing, I said it last week. I will say it again. I 100% believe we are on road to Homelander, Cody. I truly believe he was probably the one that took out Jacob Fatu. That's my personal opinion. The characteristics now seem more Homelander, if you're looking for them, than they did in the past. And I do think when they do turn him, it's not going to be where the IWC goes, all right, tonight's the night. It's going to be sudden. It's going to be quick. It's going to be unexpected. Like when Braun Breaker did the thing with Seth. Now, yeah, I know Seth was injured, but whenever they were going to do it, it was going to be for maximum shock value.
Yep.
The point is to stay ahead of the curve. The Undertaker once said, when he would change his look for the Undertaker character, he would always try to stay ahead of the audience and change the look before the audience goes, this is stale.
Except the snakeskin pants. That was an accident.
Yes, with the Godfather, yes. No, but in general speaking.
No, you're right. No, I'm sorry. I had to just.
No, absolutely. But you want to stay ahead of the curve. Jericho's done it. Jericho said he learned it from Undertaker. It's about staying ahead
This is
and
where
not keeping the same thing over and over again. Punk's done it. Austin sort of did it. The what thing, it's still a curse that we're still dealing with that's
Yeah.
absolutely horrible. Christian has done it.
has done
Edge
it.
has done it. A lot of the greats have always changed their look or
and-
their gimmick to make
and
things
To
work.
your point, this is where something really interesting with Cody for me. I
Mm.
don't know if the fact that and it's interesting. You look back, rest in peace, Brody Lee, right?
Mhm.
Cody Rhodes dyed his hair for that second Brody Lee match
Yes.
after he got squashed for the
And the
TNT title, right?
Yeah.
Yes. And he dyed his hair, and that was the closest to a gimmick change that he had
Yeah.
basically in AEW.
Mhm.
Probably off the table now, dyeing the hair. I'm also wondering though if the bleached hair being the look, because of the similarities to Homelander himself,
Yes.
the character, is
Yes.
not done him a disservice on the back end of one of the greatest babyface runs in the history of wrestling. Say what you will.
It's not even just the hair, it's the jacket. The jacket is very Homelander-esque.
It is. It
So, like,
is.
So he's purposely done that look. So, like, he's going to turn heel. Anybody who goes, he's not going to turn heel, he's going to do it. It's just a matter of when. It
think so,
is really
too.
the case.
I think so too. We're all on the same page, no doubt. I wish we had more time, but that is going to bring us to the end of the show. Thank you, everybody that tuned in. We will be back same time, same place tomorrow. That's noon Pacific, 3 o'clock over on the East Coast, 8 o'clock in the UK, and 9 a.m. for my friends in Hawaii. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hit that notification button, like and subscribe if you haven't already. We'll also be back later with Off the Air immediately following Halloween Havoc tonight. We've got all kinds of great stuff on tap here at WR. Have a great rest of your Saturday. And on behalf of me, Clark Taylor, Anthony Ricciardi, and Ignacio, thank you. Have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.